Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be starting a brand new legendary campaign using the SFO mod, and we're going to be using Heinrich Kemmler with the vampire count. So special thanks to Greg D for sponsoring this. Anyone else out there like to sponsor a campaign yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Let me know what you have in mind. Right now it's just $3 an hour, and I'll play as many episodes as you'd like to see. Usually we do it in 10 episode sets. Might have to raise the price up a little bit to $4 an hour at some point in the future, just because I am getting a lot of requests for these. And frankly, $3 an hour is dirt cheap for this type of stuff. But let me tilt my camera up just a little bit here. There we go. So anyways, if you're interested, email me, thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Let me know what you think. Or if I've recently completed one, so if I did 10 episodes of one and you want to see more of that, if you were really into it, you want to see more of the campaign, just throw in an extra $3 an episode and I'll continue on that as well, as long as there hasn't been a major content patch. If there's been a big patch, sometimes you can't go back to earlier saves. But anyways, and this is August of 2020 as far as current patch and updates on SFO. Okay, let's get in here. And I will say I did just complete, or I'm still working through, by the time you watch this, I'll still be working through an Orion campaign with the Wood Elves at SFO, and then I'm also going to be doing a Norska campaign using a special legendary award from Mixu. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it's got a whole bunch of different mods with Radius and Mixu, and it's going to be doing Norska on the Vortex campaign. So that should be pretty interesting as well. So I had a whole bunch of these stacked up at once, so I'm going to be releasing an episode per day from all three of those, probably at least for a couple of weeks. So even if you don't get an announcement on YouTube for whichever episode you're interested in, just stop by, check it out, see what you think, and you can follow me on Twitter at the Strat Prof, the Strategy Professor, on Twitter, and I give you a schedule every day of the time that I'm releasing the different content of the day, and you can see, oh, he's releasing Heinrich, at noon. He's releasing Orion at 3 p.m., that type of stuff. So that's a good way to stay up to date, because sometimes YouTube doesn't always send you the stuff. But do like and subscribe, because it does help out with the algorithm. Okay, let's get in here. So historically, Heinrich has been one of the weaker legendary lords, probably, I think unequivocally the weakest of the vampire counts, and really one of the weakest lords in the whole game. I think SFO has tried to buff him up a little bit, so we'll be able to revisit him and check him out. And they did put him in the Northern Grey Mountains, so you kind of have what I think is probably going to be a much harder starting position than the traditional vampire counts. My favorite vampire count is Isabella von Karstein, but she has some really good early game stuff to power you through. So Heinrich is definitely going to be a bit more challenging than that. So what does he do? Well, he's pretty weak in combat to start with, but he can summon up and upgrade this minion Krell. They can get some pretty powerful buffs on him. Now, he used to not be that strong, so hopefully he's going to be a bit better. But he has that going for him. He can settle mountains, which is pretty cool. Diplomatic relations with other chaos is good. Winds of Magic plus 20 is good. Upkeep for necromancers. Now, necromancers have historically been one of the weaker heroes as well in the game, just because their necromancer magic, the vampire counts can do it anyways. But I think they've done some buffs to necromancers to make them a little more relevant. It raised dead minus 25% for every lord in your faction is actually pretty massive, because that's where you're going to get, or that's where we're likely to get a lot of our stuff that we hire, is through the raised dead feature. Because vampire counts, their high-end buildings are very expensive. It takes a long time to tech up to their but with Raise Dead, if you beat a bunch of elite stuff and there's just a lot of dead things in an area, sometimes you can Raise Dead and pull up really elite stuff without having the building for it. So Raise Dead is very, very strong, especially in the mid to late game. So that's really nice. That's a lot cheaper. And you get it instantly. It's almost like Regiments of Renown. And then you get +3 hero recruit rank for Necros. Once again, they used to be bad. Hopefully they've buffed them up. I think they have a little bit. And then you're immune to non-vampiric attrition, which is great. Means you can be more aggressive in the early game. Weapon strength plus 20% for skeleton warriors and spearmen. This is good because skeletons are one of the better sort of cost pound for pound units in the game early on. And then you get Krell, and you get some ethereal units early on, which it looks like they have buffed up quite a bit. They do have perfect vigor with SFO, which is really huge. Because when Vigor drops, if you don't know that, if you haven't watched this, I'll have a link at the beginning of this video to my beginner's guide for Total War Warhammer, so be sure to check that out. But if you don't know, the Vigor, whenever units get tired, They lose armor, they lose melee attack, melee defense, accuracy, move speed. They just become a lot worse leadership at basically everything. So to have perfect vigor in longer fights, you're just going to get a tremendous buff to stats. This also means that you can do things like climb up walls with certain units and never get tired. You can dash, and if they attack you, you're not going to be tired or fatigued. So perfect vigor is actually quite strong. Then they have pretty good armor-piercing damage. I think they gave them way more melee attack than they used to have, which is really nice. And they do have area of effect attacks, and they still have very heavy missile resist too. So they're going to almost be unkillable by missile units. So they did buff them up quite a bit, which I think is really nice. And they gave them a lot more HP. 9,000 HP is quite a bit. Now, most units have a lot of HP in SFO, but these used to have a very low amount, like 3,000 or something, or 2,500 in the base game. So this is actually quite nice. That's about half of what skeletons are, or zombies. So that's a pretty big buff HP wise. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. Sorry for all that preamble. Just wanted to get all that out of the way, kind of talk you through what we're going through here. Now, if you've never played as vampire counts in general, their playstyle is sort of swarming early on. You just get a whole bunch of zombies and skeletons, and usually you have a few elite units to start with, like the ghost units, and you just kind of want to spam and just bog them down with your meat shield units, and then just try to finish them off with your elite units. Isabella gets Vargeist, which are very strong flying units early on. We'll try to see if we can get some Vargeist, because they're really good with SFO. And sort of the strength is you have a lot of kind of regenerating units, regeneration magic as the undead. You've got a lot of HP, and just a lot of staying power in melee. You don't have any ranged units. There is a way to get ranged crossbowmen with one of the vampiric kisses, which we'll go over in there. But for the most part, your melee, you have a bunch of junk early, and then you have a really good set of elite monsters.
Mighty Lich Master,
Okay, get in here.
the fate of undeath is spread by your conquests, mighty lord.
So if we get in here and look at kind of the creatures to start with, oh, that's pretty cool. He can get the Mortise Engine early on too. This thing is awesome, especially against things like Empire. It has this area of effect magic damage, and it also restores health to everybody around you. And I love how it tells you the health that it restores to on all of these things. And it was a great addition. I think the base game did it, and SFO has it as well. Now, it doesn't tell you how much damage it's doing there. 1 second. Okay, so it looks like it's just permanent. It says duration 30 seconds, but you have to be in melee for it to activate. But this does a lot of damage over time to units. So, and it has the perfect vigor, lots of HP for a single entity unit, pretty good missile resist. This thing is a beast. It may not look like it, but if you've ever fought against one of those things, it is a nightmare to try to deal with that if you don't focus fire it with a bunch of ranged units. And you have these Vargeists, which I think are really good. These used to be trash when the game first came out. They were just a little too vulnerable, but now they have quite a bit of HP. They gave them the Hunger, which, unless they've changed that, includes regeneration as part of it. Yeah, 12 HP per second. That is a lot. Now, it does have a small cooldown to it, but that's a huge amount. And you get extra melee attack, missile resist, vigor, all that kind of stuff. And they're frenzied, so they do extra melee, and they have really fast attacks. So they're just super strong. Vigor resistant, somewhat missile resistant. Big weapon strength, 125. Fly super fast at 110. There's 6 of them in a stack. I mean, these things are just some of the best units in the game, I think. Some of the best flying units in the game, especially at that price point. The 350 is very cheap for something that's that powerful. So we'll definitely try to get those if we can. Once again, Isabella starts off with those, and she gets a big discount on them. So, you know, that is good for her. But nevertheless, those are still really good. I think that Cryptors are also pretty good. Now, these were, in the base game, before they got nerfed a lot, these were the premier monsters you would rush with them. Big, lot of damage. They have buffed them up a little bit more, so we might try them out. 10 bonus versus infantry, so that's pretty good at 52 melee attack with a decent charge bonus of 40 something. Pretty good move speed. Their leadership's not that high. I think they've given them a bit more armor than usual, and they have kind of your standard regeneration on most vampiric beast units, and they have a little bit of extra physical resist. So these are pretty good. You got to keep them out of spears, but in general, you'll find that you have a lot of HP, you have regeneration and things like that with the undead, but most units have fairly low melee attack and melee defense. So these guys are kind of with that too, with only the 42-32. But nevertheless, a lot of HP, lots of AoE attacks. Very good. Then these are your Graveguard. They've taken them down a tier 2, but you still have to get this Ancient Armory, which really sucks and is very annoying. They took this out of a lot of other factions, like Empire doesn't have to build this secondary building for a lot of their units outside of like demigryphs and things like that. They can get their great swords without having a secondary building because you only have so many building slots. That's the biggest issue, right? In that whenever, and this isn't even a major town, so whenever we upgrade this town, we're only getting one more slot. So if we wanted to get, Graveguard, then we'd have to take up all of our slots. And that's partially why I don't really like getting elite infantry. And that's one reason. But usually with most factions, especially swarm type of factions, you want to just use your infantry slot on just your just big blobs of units you can just throw in there to soak up stuff, and then use the majority of your money on elite sort of tactical units, not just your soldiers up on the front line. Like use it on cavalry, monsters, artillery, just other stuff really is what you want to specialize in. And then just buy cheap meat stuff if you're like Skaven or really just anybody. That's kind of the strategy that I think is a winning strategy these days. It's just cheap stuff on the front line, and then spend your money on elite tactical units. Okay, so anyways, probably not going to see a lot of them. Crypt Horrors are good. Now the White King used to be trash, one of the worst heroes in the game as well, but they have buffed him up. Now you can summon up some free Graveguards, so those are a lot better than they used to be. So they look pretty decent. They are kind of cheap. But yeah, this tree is not going to be super great just because we can usually raise dead and get skeletons anyways, and zombies. Crypt Horrors or Crypt Ghouls are okay. Graveguard, not so great, at least early on. And then the Crypt Horrors are alright, and the White King is alright. But I'd much rather be in this tree just to try to get to these Vargheists. Even though we're only going to be able to hire 2, I think. When we get that, it's still worth. And the Varghulfs are actually quite good too at tier 4. You get bolstered attack and 55 melee defense, or melee attack, melee defense. So they're pretty good. They have the regeneration, faster attacks. I like Vargheist in general a little bit more, but this guy's pretty good to get up there and just face tank a bunch of stuff. His armor's not that great, but he's okay. And then other units in there, we talked about the Mortise Engine. That's pretty awesome. The Banshee's great. The problem is you have to have a Necro library to get to her. That's a new thing. You didn't used to have to do that. But she does have increased mobility, which is obviously going to be really sweet. What is this? This is new. Okay, so she basically gets a form of regeneration. 2 points, which is not a ton. Then she's got this Tomb Scream AoE breath attack, which is pretty cool. Debuff, decent damage, free magic, and then she's got perfect vigor and ghostly. So she's pretty strong. And then this thing right here, this Unholy Lodestone, is quite good. Eventually it gives everybody additional regeneration, 2 points per second. I feel like that's nerfed, but we'll see. And then 10-10 on the melee attack and defense for everybody is really nice. And then vampires are some of the best heroes in the game. On the flip side, Isabella can get those like pretty much on turn 3 or 4. Isabella can get those on turn 3 or 4, but everyone else has to wait until much later to get them. But they are super good, very good in combat, have great magic. They replenish. They have all kinds of good stuff. They damage buildings. They have a ton of good stuff. So they're some of the best heroes in the game. Blood Dragon Warriors. Now, these are the elite infantry, the kind of stuff I was saying. In general, I'm not a big fan of. However, these are almost like Cav, and a lot of the vampires are. They move around really quickly. They have 60 speed. So you can just kind of treat them like fairly slow cavalry, but they can stick in combat and do pretty well. 45-40 is not insane early on, but they do get 25 bonus versus infantry, so that would put them up to 70 with 125 damage. Not a lot of armor piercing, but they do also have regeneration from the hunger. And they get frenzies. That's an extra 10 melee attack. So I guess that bumps them up to like 80 melee attack, which is very good. Then they have the silver shields and 116 armor. So these are actually quite good. So these would be worth hiring for tactical reasons. Then your late game monsters that are pretty strong. You've got the Terrorgeist, kind of fairly standard flying dragon type of unit. They are anti-large. So they're very good against other dragons. They get 60 bonus versus dragons. Not a lot of melee attack and defense, but you get that 60 charge bonus. They're flying, so you can charge cycle them pretty easy. They do have a standard sort of breath attack. But then they also have a Terrorgeist Shriek, which is pretty nice. Deals AoE damage and slows everyone down by 50% for a while. So pretty good little set of abilities there. Also has regeneration. Pretty standard. Then you have the Wraith stuff, which is okay, but once again, it requires a stupid Ancient Armory, which is really annoying. So we're probably not going to be able to get a lot of those, even though they are cool units. And then end game, we got the Zombie Dragon, who does have more HP, does have more melee attack and defense, doesn't have the bonus versus large, but he's better at just standing in combat and fighting. He does have this Swarm of Flies, which is good, -8 melee attack on everybody and damage to combatants, so he's pretty strong. He does not have regeneration, but still pretty good. And then the Blood Knights are some of the best cavalry in the game. Historically, they are still quite strong. They get bonus versus large, 30 bonus versus large, 90 charge bonus, huge armor. They also have Frenzy and the regeneration, so they're just stacked. Really, really powerful units. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. And we'll go over some more Blood Kiss and all that stuff here in a second.
I need more minions.
I want to make sure we get into a fight, though. Okay, so just hire everything. Let's go for Gissero, just because we're at war with them and they're right here, so why not? Okay, so lower leadership, but you get replenishment, extra magic. Campaign movement is disabled. Oh, it lowers the raised dead costs. I mean, I guess I could have waited and done that, but we'll probably need all those units to fight this. That's interesting. Okay, so you get +1 capacity for all units, and you can raise dead -20%. Okay, so that's pretty good. So you can go over the cap if you want some extra Vargeist or something like that. Okay, so you can got a raid stance for 50%, ambush 25. Okay, so channeling -5 leadership. Doesn't look like it costs anything. That's definitely worth at a certain point, but I think we'll be alright on the magic to start with, so let's just go ahead and hit them. Okay, so we should be able to clean this up. What else? So the Blood Kiss system, whenever we kill a leader, a faction of another leader, or assassinate a hero, there's a couple other conditions you can do. You get this Blood Kiss, and it's basically a resource system you can use to buy faction-wide buffs. And it also enables you to hire special faction-wide wards. And I don't remember which ones are the super strong ones or not. Usually I just work around the buffs because all of the lords are pretty good. I think the Blood Dragon one's probably the best fighter, but has some of the worst buffs. On Legendary, you usually want to go with anything that reduces cost or improves public order. Just the campaign management stuff. Because usually I can do alright in combat. It's all about getting that campaign management though. Okay, so we'll go with these. These can actually Vanguard if I want them to. I don't think they had any cav, I believe. Maybe they did. I don't remember. Okay, these can Vanguard also. Now, the undead are very slow. Their basic infantry units are really slow. 2,500 hit points healed. That's pretty massive. Yeah, it's probably still just going to do Invocation of the Heck with all of our magic, so you don't even need a ton of magic, just like a couple of extra points here. It does lower your melee attack while that's going on, but it's fine. Still a pretty good value. He's that perfect figure, so I don't have to worry about running around. You obviously want to lead with like your vampires or your zombies. Now, in general, if you have an option, skeletons are a better option, I think. Now, I'd have to check the cost. They have, what SFO has done recently, with the most recent patch, I should say, is they've increased the recruitment cost of a lot of stuff. They've lowered the cost to have extra lords.
I know what to do.
And I love vampire counts. I think I said that at the beginning. They're one of my favorite factions. They're just so much fun. I love having the big monsters, and they just have so many like different kinds of units that are actually good. You know, like you're not really pigeonholed as much as some other factions into going for certain kinds of tactics. So, no. We want to flank. They do not want to let us flank. I'd say those are probably going to rally back. These are probably going to rally back here in a second. And these ghosts do cause terror as well. So you have a lot of like access to really early terror causing units, which is nice. So you do have fast-moving stuff with the monsters, but you also have the slow-moving zombies. They're my favorite to play in multiplayer, too. Maybe I should give multiplayer another try. I just wish I had time to just, you know, play everything a ton, but it's just so limited. The multiplayer was pretty fun. I just wish it was a little more balanced. Not even necessarily, like, class balance. I don't care about that as much. I mean, that's important, but just, like, ladder balance, because last time, I've explained this a lot, I think, back when I played multiplayer and the game first came out, was there are just so many like exploits and weird things that could go on, and maybe they fix it over time, I don't know. It doesn't look like he's decaying. Dang, he is pretty strong though. They definitely buffed up Krell. Yeah, he's rocking. He gives everybody a little bit of extra stuff too, which is nice. See, they barely hurt these at all. Like, they're just basically immune. Oh, crap. I forgot about these. Let's get over here and get that. There's just like people, you know, I got to like rank 200 something, like 270 or something like that on the ladder, and people would just DC, like, and you wouldn't get a loss if you just like unplugged your internet in the middle of a match, and I wouldn't get a win, or whoever was abusing that wouldn't get a win. And there was just like people could dodge for free without a penalty. So basically, if they saw you in queue and they're like, that guy's really good, I don't want to play against him, or if they just thought, that's a bad matchup, I want to play Undead into, you know, or just like, I hate playing Undead into Greenskins or something like that, if you just picked undead every game and you saw greenskins, you could say, I don't feel like playing it, just dodge, just wait for another queue. You'd end up, the amount of people that were playing were so small too, that you'd end up playing against the same person, multiple people in the same day. I got the same person in queue like 4 or 5 times. It dodged every time. Just stuff like that. And that people could switch their faction at the very last second too. You know, with like 5 seconds left, they switch their faction. So you've got this whole thing set up to where you're like, okay, I've got a good counter to what they're doing. And then all of a sudden they switch it on you. So I think the tournament version, the multiplayer, like with people like Turin, I played against Turin a couple of times. He was actually really nice and pretty cool. On the ladder, I think we went 1-1 back in the day. But his kind of thing where he organizes these tournaments, I think that's a lot better. I think that's a lot more fun because they have their own in-house rules. You obviously can't DC in the middle of the match. You can't switch your race at the last second, and they put limitations on certain things. Like, I just remember, like, if you played as greenskins and you were going against dwarves, they could just go all gyrocopters and just hide one of their lords in the corner on, like, a huge forested map and just run over and blow you up. Like, there were so many problems with flying units. Same thing with, like, Bretonnia. Like, any of these things that had a lot of flying units, it just had a lot of problems. But the gameplay itself was fun against people that weren't cheesing or exploiting or abusing sort of the matchmaking system and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're just going to occupy. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could give that a look again at some point. Okay, so this is their new system, Imperium Power. So basically it doesn't cost as much to have another lord.
Spread the rot.
Because like in the base game it costs 50% more or 15% more upkeep per lord. Which was really rough, which means you couldn't have a lot of lords. But with this, it doesn't cost very much. So if we hire... if we want to hire another lord, then the upkeep is only plus 1%, and recruitment goes up 10%, and so does Raise Dead. And then units gain extra experience per turn if you do that. So the recruitment goes up a lot, but the upkeep isn't as much. So this is kind of, it's not as good for vampire counts. I don't know. It's weird because you do recruit a lot of extra things because your units die a lot if you have a lot of like skeletons and zombies, but they're pretty cheap to begin with, and but they don't cost much upkeep either. So I think overall it's pretty good for everybody, but especially for elite factions that have expensive units, but like their upkeep is really high, but you can keep them alive a lot, then that can be quite good. So once we get to like Vargeist and Varghouls and things like that, that's actually pretty nice. I don't remember. I think just the vampires are the best ones. 1100. They're still 500 per turn, so they're not free. It's just you don't get taxed a lot on your extra ones. Master Necromancer, I'm not really into that. I think we'll wait until we get one of these Blood Kiss Lords, and then we'll use one of them. So you can, whenever you get one of them here, you can kind of see what their bonuses are. So the first one is 3 kisses, the next one's 6, and I think the next one's 12. So Lamian gives us 10% upkeep for all heroes. So that's really good with Isabella because you get a lot of vampires with Isabella, and I think that's what makes her arguably the strongest legendary lord in the game, because you can get so many vampires. But that's good with her, not as good with my guy, most likely. 20% casualty replenishment is huge. We get Sylvanian Crossbowmen, which doesn't really fit the style of the vampire counts, but could be decent. The 20% is really nice, but it does give you 4 public order, and then plus 5 rank from forest buildings. So he might be good with forest stuff, which would be really nice, because that's the Vargeist and the Varghulf. And then this dude does 20% for cavalry units. You don't get a lot of cav until later in the game. The Black Knights aren't that great. They require that reliquary, that extra building, so we're probably not going to get them early on. The Blood Knights are very good, obviously, at tier 5, but Black Knights are, like, okay. But really, it's all about the monsters, you know? At least for me it is, with the Vampire Counts a lot of times. Experience 250 per turn is okay. So this guy is, like, I think the best fighter, but his buffs, in my opinion, aren't that great until much later in the game. Now, ambush success chance 25%, not that great. We're usually on the attack a lot as Vampire Counts. The corruption, however, the +5 corruption is a really big deal. And then the campaign movement range is obviously quite good. And getting stalk for everybody is, I think, really solid. I think stalk, I believe that allows you to Vanguard. Those might be 2 separate traits. But anyways, you're pretty much unspottable until you get up close to them. So that kind of nullifies a lot of ranged stuff against you, which is obviously going to be really good against a lot of factions. Research rate 25%. There are quite a few good research skills that are nice. Cooldown for spells, and then wins of magic costs are pretty solid. And then raised dead cost is obviously really good as well later in the game, and upkeep reduction for all units. So I think Necrarch might be our best one. Although once again, I assume he specializes in, like, or he has really strong magical stuff. So we might go with that eventually. Now, we don't start with a Blood Kiss. A lot of the other vampires do. So I think, yeah, one of these gives a free Blood Kiss, which we want, so we can get another Lord going. So I think this one. And then getting the growth is pretty nice, and the income from cities. These baleful rituals, the corruption is also quite good, and then +1 corruption in adjacent provinces is very good. So I think these are always pretty solid as far as techs go. And then the zombie and skeletal stuff is okay, but once again, those are just kind of built to die. The 75% recruitment for zombies, I don't know if that includes... I mean, you can always recruit zombies in any town, though. So that's probably pretty good. 10 armor is actually pretty legit. That gives them a lot of survivability, because they don't have any armor, I don't think, or it's very low. Recruitment cost for skeletons and skeleton warriors, that's actually quite good, especially if that includes raised dead. I don't know if it does. The extra damage is sort of whatever. The armor's pretty good, though. Their upkeep is very cheap. And then this eventually can give you Black Knights and Graveguard. Once again, we're not getting a lot of those, so it's okay, but it's not insane. The leadership's quite good, because those units are all low leadership. Crypt Ghouls and Crypt Horrors, if we're going for that, are nice, but I would like to get more of the Wraiths. I do really like the Wraiths. I think they're a very cool tactical unit, but they are just too expensive. They upgraded this. I think this used to be 10% movement. Now it's 15%, so that's actually quite good. And then Fellbats and Direwolves are not that great. Melee defense for Vargeist is okay, but usually you're on the offense with them. The upkeep is nice. The recruitment's nice. And then Varghulf stuff. So these are okay. I mean, they're good, like later game things. Plus 30 with all factions. Diplomacy is pretty good. By the time we work our way over, hopefully we can confederate with Von Karsteins over there, if we kill a bunch of Empire to get there. Raised dead cost 20% is very good. Hero recruitment 50%. So these are pretty good. Oh yeah, right there. Yeah, the diplomacy stuff. Huh. It's 19. I'm just wondering, because I would love to confederate with the other vampire guy that's on the coast here, instead of having to kill him. Because if you kill him, you have to knock his town down to, like, tier 1 probably. And I would love to just inherit his buildings. But I do want this kiss. Hero action cost. Yeah, this is pretty good. This is a new one that they added in, I think. Reserve and then Endless Thralls. That's all pretty good. Baleful Rituals. I feel like you kind of have to have that, though, to, like, to get out of your territory. Because there's just... You have to spread the corruption. And come from cities doesn't matter as much early on, but... That's actually really cheap too, huh? Yeah, so it's basically, it's zombies. So it'd be 100 to hire zombies instead of 200. Okay, let me upgrade him here. It looked like he wasn't decaying. Upgrades. Kroll degrades at half speed. Okay. It looked to me like he wasn't really decaying. You have really good skills a lot of times, so 5 leadership when attacking is good. Okay, so raised dead cost minus 15%. Recruit rank for skeleton and zombies. Wow, that's really good. 10% replenishment. Six for zombies. That's usually pretty good, but once again, they're just kind of built to die. Campaign movement range is pretty solid. Black Knights, Blood Knights, Carriages of Death. Yes, these upgrades aren't that great. Where's the monster one? Walking Dead? Okay, so damage and charge bonus for Cryptors and Terrorgeist. So that's like okay. 15%, and then the 10% here is 25% replenishments. Pretty solid. And then this is very good for, you know, if you're getting a lot of vampires later on. Ancient Cunning is movement speed and ambush. Okay. So, I mean, that you could get some pretty good ambushes, honestly. 30% there, and if you have that other lord, that's 25%. So it's going to be almost 100% ambush. Lightning Strike, Guile, Glamour. So these aren't that great. You don't get discounts. Uncanny. That's pretty good. Master of the Dead's level 4. It's level 10. That's another 10%. Okay, so I think we want Invocation of the Heck is the upgrade, and then how much is the discount? 2. And then the cooldown's 50%. So it says it's 90. Okay, so that should break it down to 45. Although it's not reflecting that. Yeah, being able to get a 2-for-1 basically. Because right now it's 11. And you can cast this on, I think it's up to 4 people. Yeah, I think we want that upgraded. Okay, they changed this too. I thought this used to be, it gave you back magic over time, but now it gives you extra regeneration. 400 for everything on the map every time you cast something. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, so no raised dead there. I think we just try to take out Artois if we can. Do they have an army there? They do. So, I don't know. Maybe the ambush thing is okay to get people out of their towns. Okay, so we get research rate, public order. We can recruit necromancers, extra capacity, and heroes, and corruption. Damn, all of these have bad traits. They're expensive too. It causes terror, which is okay. The leadership stuff doesn't matter as much. I guess we'll go with one of those.
Ready?
Alright, let's see what they have here. So they have Invocation as well, and Curse of Undeath. So we can just spam that a lot. And then he gets Personal Leadership. Is that for the whole army? Magic Resist? It's not that great. Okay, replenishment, sort of whatever. Could be good. Weapon strength for Crypt Ghouls and Crypt Horrors. Alright. Upkeep reduction for Crypt Horrors. Okay. Could be pretty good. Armor for Black Coach. All that stuff and charge bonus. Alright. Corpse Carts. Faction-wide. Upkeep minus 5%. Okay, that's pretty good. So we can do Steel Tech also. You can steal tech from other people that you're fighting, which is okay if you have Specialist. Calming, Quell, all that stuff. Eventually, I mean, one of the main draws of them is that you can get an Unholy Lodestone. You have to be level 16, but it's basically a Lord with a free Unholy Lodestone, which is a really nice buff we talked about earlier. You also get Master of the Dead. Now, did they change Raise Dead? Oh, it's way too expensive. 13. I mean, you could get a Nagash for that. You know what I mean? Like, you can summon skeleton warriors, but I would much rather have an invocation or of Nahek. Much rather have an invocation of Nahek. It's like, I can heal 4 of my own units for 10,000 health, in addition to giving everybody, all 14 units, an extra 400 health, so, or all 20 units, so 8,000 health, so 18,000 health. Basically, by using the Invocation of the Heck, or I could summon a pack of skeletons for about the same price. It's like, come on, man. I mean, the skeletons do technically have like 18,000 health or something, so I guess there's that, but I mean, you're spamming the Heck all the time. Wind of Death is like cute. It does do a hell of a lot of damage. I mean, there might be some places where that's superior if you're just like really floating in magic. I mean, the main thing, like, with any of these other spells, it's like I'm only going to cast them if Nahek is not available most of the time. This needs to be a lot cheaper. This used to be like 5 or 6 mana to cast, and I think that was much more reasonable. 8. I guess maybe it's not reflecting the discount. This says, oh, it's number of uses, not lowered cost. So this lowers the cost. Number of uses. Okay, so that lowers the cost by 1. There was something else that lowers it by another 1, I guess. I'd take it to 12. Maybe 11. This lowers the cost. And that lowers the cost of Nahek also, though. I don't know. Okay, so we have one more point. Do I want scouting or... I mean, I could just get scouting. Or we... this is at rank 4. How long until I get a corpse cart? 10? We could just save points also if we really wanted to. Get a bunch of these things. I guess maybe we just get scouting. I don't know. I mean, is this worth... If this was like summon up Graveguard or something, but that might be a different story. Can I afford to Steel Tech? I mean, Steel Tech does power level them really fast. Let's go. Let's try to get some Steel Tech. Now, am I at war with Carrick Ziflin yet? They're obviously going to go to war with me soon. Not yet, but see the writing on the wall there. Okay, so we'll just get 1 for now, and then Graveguard, Black Knight, Blood Knight. How much? 5,000 gold. 3 growth. They increased the growth. This used to be 2. So I noticed they did that with the Wood Elves, but I guess they've done that with more people as well. Okay, so we get public order, more income, 125 income, corruption stuff, or we can get this for growth. No income, but if we want to grow it up, I mean tier 3. I guess we can get the VAR guys at tier 3, but this is the super cheap. We're not gonna be able to trade with anyone probably. Okay, so it's either Gibbet or blood tax. I guess let's go with Gibbet. Then over here, oh, Gibbet's level 1. I guess let's get this. Direwolf and Vargolf. Come on, give me the Var guys, dog. Alright, I'm good with that. Castle Artois has some stuff, but not a lot of stuff.
Find me, Grave Power.
Okay, we haven't seen anyone else. Sorry, this episode's obviously going a bit slower. It will speed up a lot. I'm just trying to cover everything that I can think of to talk about in the first episode. But we'll just jump right into much more action in the next few episodes. Oh, damn, there's a fort there. I forgot about those stupid forts, and you can't jump under them. We don't have any underway, so... What is it, Sadie? We're kind of surrounded by walls right now.
I will not blight my soul.
Chilfoy. Eight units.
Do you take me for a churl?
It doesn't say he's hiring.
I am the Lord of Bretonnia. Never.
He has 13 units. That's going to be really hard to beat.
Darkness comes.
Causes damage to combatants. Okay, yeah, they gave him the Shadow of the Lich Master, which is pretty good. Krell is a lot stronger than he used to be.
What? I need more minions.
Yeah, maybe I should get the ambush stuff, honestly. The ambusher dude. Because I feel like that might be one of my only ways to siege early on, is just to get them to come out. And the 5 corruption's actually quite good. Is that all properties, I wonder? Or is... Yeah, it's probably not all territories. It's not very clear about that. That's pretty good too, the research. Okay, so the question is, do I wait on
Who shall we destroy?
this guy?
For the wisdom of Valea.
And we could also come over here and try to take out Carrick Ziflin. It's a 7, but they're gonna hire like 3 or 4 more units. They're gonna have like 13 or 14 units.
You dare?
They're probably a lot harder to fight because we do magic damage and they have really heavy melee defense. We just don't have good stuff against them right now.
Spread the rot.
Can we? We can't. Okay, we can run past this if we're not at war with them. If we're at war with them, it's gonna be a lot harder.
They will all.
I mean, do they have... Since they're a lot stronger than me. I'm just wondering if I can siege them right now.
Need more minions.
25 extra magic. I mean, they're not hiring, so I could do... But the question is, are they going to upgrade their town? If they get an upgraded town or they finish a building, it's going to be a lot harder to siege. I think we just got to go for it. Just got to hold our nose and go for it, I believe.
Spread the rot.
You dishonor me.
They will all pay. It is night.
Okay, now the question is, do I want more magic
Doom.
and -5 leadership, or do I think I just want the leadership.
I need more minions. Destroy them.
Okay, so they might come out on me. They always give you 5. It doesn't matter what you have. You can almost never get these siege towers in one turn. They're probably going to try to come out on me, I imagine. I hate having to wait around for multiple turns, but they'll probably sally out.
Destruction. I will not betray you. The shamblers move. Commit, minions, commit.
Oh, you got the Mortal Informer. Okay. Wait, what is Ravenous Dead? Shadow of the Lichmaster. Binding Winds of Blood. Passive ability, the Ravenous Dead, Lord's Army. What is Ravenous Dead? What am I missing? We've got Krell. I have no clue. Okay, anyways, alright. Just about got all that done. That's working. That's good. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we'll speed it up a lot more the next couple of episodes. We'll get one more fight in here. Just wanted to go through all the stuff here. I am pretty hyped to do some more vampire counts, though. They are a lot of fun. I did like the elves, too, are really good. I had a feeling they'd sally out. Exactly what I want. Sieges, like, the sieges are... You are really good at sieges if you're Isabella, because you have the Vargeist. Once you get the flying Vargeist, that's where it's on. You got the Vargeist, and you have the vampires who can climb up the walls and just kill them all. Because they have so much regeneration and all this crazy stuff. But Heinrich, we got to be a little more cautious. Like, the Wraiths can climb up pretty comfortably, but really, like, to be successful on sieges, most of the time, you need air superiority or you need artillery superiority most of the time. You can, or if you crack their walls and you have, like, really good infantry, you can just bulldoze your way down. But you have to have a wall-cracking hero, which we don't get. I think it's the Banshee that does that. Okay, so the reinforcements are coming in. Vanguard would be very nice if we had Vanguard on these units, because they're so slow, but... So we need to try to run at them and disrupt them if we can before their reinforcements get here. Do they even have any? I don't know if they even had any, Cavalry. So the word I was looking for there. Sometimes my my mind just gets ahead of my words there a little bit. I think these are pretty missile resistant too, aren't they? Yeah, they have 25 missile resist. Anti-infantry. Oh, skeleton warriors. Yeah, I think a lot of they gave 25% missile resist to a lot of the entry-level undead stuff.
Master. Master of death. Great slaughter. I run. Very well. Carnage.
Come on, boys, let's go. Do I?
I won't tell your boss.
Okay, thank you. Drinking on the job
jar.
here.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Heinrich
Sorry.
Kemmler. At once.
See.
Oh, good. Death.
Let's stay over here.
Darkest magic to me.
Yeah, we do need to try to kill everything that we possibly can and not let anything run away. because they are going to get to, where are those spears? I thought I had some more spears somewhere, but... Yeah, Krell doesn't look like he's degrading. I mean, he's been out there for a little while. So those zombies are done. Dang, that's on a low cooldown. That's on a 50-second cooldown.
I go.
God, I remember when there was not a limit on it. You could literally, like, hit your entire squad with that. Did he die? I assume, yeah, he's just running away. I mean, that's kind of what you do. You just tie up their lord with a bunch of little zombies or skeletons or whatever, and... Yeah, he's not degrading. I don't know if that's a glitch or if they just buffed him like that, but that's pretty sweet. Now, he didn't kill a lot, obviously, but giving out that little armor buff, that makes him a lot more viable. I wonder if I should even put points into the non-degrading then, because it doesn't look like he ever degrades. So yeah, I mean, it's basically just like having a normal combat lord that's pretty good. So, okay, Kemmler. I see you. Oh, boys, come on, let's go. God, killed 400 units with these, just running everybody down, pretty much. Damn, I missed the chance to kill a lot of these. I probably could have, yeah, that might come back to bite me. 'Cause those are pretty good units, I think. No, those are just battle pilgrims. Yeah, I could have killed those 1 or 2 battalions over there. So I might regret that, but... Okay, so we lost 1 zombie. One issue is, this will probably call it like a close victory. Yeah, even though we slaughtered them, just because whenever you take casualties, even if it's zombies, then that counts towards your victory type. So even though we were unfavored at the start and we completely murdered them, it's not going to give us the full, like, a full victory. Which is fine. Like, the only reason that matters is because you get less experience if you get a close victory versus decisive. So some of these like swarming factions, like your Vampire Counts, Vampire Coast, Skaven, Beastmen to an extent. Some of these things just have a whole bunch of like just chafe units that you throw in there that are just intended to die. Goblins, greenskins, that type of stuff. It's harder to get those decisive victories. That's pretty good, murder captives, but you get this buff, this murder captives, anytime you normally take a town, in addition to all the other things. It just doesn't tell you that. Yeah, we gotta go with the dark magic. It's pretty much always gonna have negative leadership, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna do only faction-wide caps. What this means is that in order to have more of like some of the larger elite units you can hire, you have to have higher level towns, which kind of sucks when it's something like Vampire Counts, which takes a very long time to level stuff up, but it does make the game a little more challenging. Okay. Faction-wide and army caps. So the army caps limits the amount per army of certain types of units. So like elite units, rare units. So like you could only have like 2 dragons or 4 Vargeist, probably, stuff like that. I used to do it in the past, but it's okay. It doesn't add a lot to the campaign, honestly. It's all right. But I've just chosen just to go with the faction-wide caps, just to bump up the difficulty just a little bit. If you do this, it's okay. It's just it can draw out the campaign a little bit longer, and obviously we're kind of relatively crunched for time, trying to get as many episodes as we can. I know I talk a lot through the first one, but I think a lot of people like my content because I explain stuff a lot, where other people don't, or they'll just cheese and stuff like that. So, anyways, I do pick it up in future episodes. So, speaking of pick it up, I think we should be able to just siege him and kill him. It might just let us auto-resolve it too. Okay, so we want Curse of Undeath. Curl degrades at half speed. Is that even worth? He already has Deadly Onslaught. So he no longer... It looks like he already has all of this stuff. As far as I can tell. Because he already has Deadly Onslaught for sure. I don't think he has Foe Seeker, but he already has Deadly Onslaught. So it feels like they've changed this a little bit. And it feels like he does not decay. I mean, that was like a 5 minutes he was out, and he didn't decay. So maybe this is just not worth getting. But I definitely want this for healing everyone up. And then either that or this. Raise Dead, 7%. Replenishment, an extra 5%. And extra leadership for the army, yeah. That's 5 leadership plus all sorts of other stuff. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, let's go with that. Let's see how this looks. Okay, it's going to make us fight it, unless I want to take a ton of casualties. So, I suppose we'll fight it. We'll start that off next time. We'll put the Necromancer in there, and we should be able to crush him. So, anyways, thank you very much. Once again, if you're new to the channel, it does speed up a little bit after the first episode. I just try to explain everything, just in case someone hasn't ever played Vampire Counts, or they're newer, or you haven't seen any of the newest SFO stuff, just so everyone's on the same page, so you know what's going on. And then we'll get in there, try to finish off Gissero, and we'll kind of play it by ear from there. We might go for Carrick Ziflin, we might go for Castle Baston. Wish we could get Grunt Zent, but we don't have a way to jump the wall. Don't think we can get Corone this early. That'd be really bold. But yeah, I think the other Legendary Lords are just a bit too strong for us for now. But hopefully we can come online with that soon. Anyways, oh, we do have a relationship with Musion already. Okay, nice.
Greetings, brothers. What does my bloodline require?
But anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to like and subscribe. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign yourself, right now it's just $3 an hour. Might have to go to $4 an hour pretty soon. Or if you want to see more episodes on this campaign, if you get pretty late in the campaign and you just want to see more, just email me. Let me know what you have in mind. We cover all sorts of other content as well on the channel. Right now we're doing a Witcher 3 playthrough. We're about to do a Deadwood playthrough. And then we do tons and tons of League of Legends as sort of our competitive game, if you have any interest in that at all. I'm a diamond level support player, and I stream that every night starting around midnight Eastern Standard Time. Don't currently stream Total War, but there's a chance in the future we might be able to stream it 1 or 2 days on the weekend. We'll just see how that pans out. But anyways, that's going to be it. Have a good day. See you next time.